Okay, and as I mentioned to you, I prefer to find my Excel file and double click it. Now, you've been taught to open Microsoft Word and then go looking around for your document and suck it in. That's perfectly fine. You can do the same thing in Excel if that's what you prefer. I want to show you the other technique. I think it's a little easier to find my files than it is to open Excel and then go find my files, but that's me. So I'm going to double click that, and here's the file that we're going to be using. And the last thing I need to do is get my book open here. If you have your books, we're just going to be starting right with Excel page 1. Tutorial 1, page 1, starting with Excel. Let's start by just talking about what the heck is Excel. Excel is a program that manipulates numbers. It was probably created by accountants who needed to do all of this math and say, you know what, I'm sick of doing this math. Can't we get this super smart computer to do it? It includes a bunch of formulas. How many of you love math? It's just the greatest thing in the world, right? Yeah, it's one. Okay, two. The rest of you, now you know who to lean on. All right? This is not a math class. If you're asked to import a formula or to do a formula and you don't quite get the math part of it, ask questions. Right? Ask me. Excel is supposed to do all the work for you. Your job is to take a formula that somebody gives you, and the book is pretty good at it. Give you a formula, and your job is to translate it into something that Excel can understand. It does the math, and it's never wrong as long as your formula is right. Since then, Excel has grown. It can do charts, pie charts, graphs, line charts, those kinds of things. It can do something called pivot tables, which is data analysis that we all hate. It does it. And if you learn how to use the tool, it makes you look really smart. At some point here, I'm going to switch back to Excel and use my other monitor to go through the book. I just want to hit some of the high points here. You're in Excel. Let's get some of the terminology out of the way, because occasionally I'm going to say, go here, go there. And what do I mean? This is Excel. At the top, you see a ribbon, but that ought to look familiar. Right? Little different names in some of the ribbons in Microsoft Word, but it's still a ribbon. And it's still got buttons, and if you want to go to the other ribbons, you just click on the tabs across the top and you go to the other ribbons. Nothing's different. The buttons inside, some of them are different, but even those first buttons ought to look familiar. Paste, format copier, font, bold, italics, fill, color, size, etc. Center, a lot of that stuff sounds the same. And then it starts getting different, and that's why we're here. What do all those things do? An Excel spreadsheet, also known as a workbook, has lots of worksheets in it. Across the bottom, you can see a bunch of different sheets. Each one of these sheets has different information in it, including charts. This is an Excel spreadsheet that's done. By the time we're done with all this, you'll be able to do the same stuff. And that looked pretty good. So these are called worksheets. The whole thing is called a workbook. Got lots of sheets inside a book. A lot of people still call it a spreadsheet, though, the whole thing. Every sheet is made up of cells. Each one of these boxes, you can click on any one of them. It's safe. Just a single click on it is safe. They're cells, is what they're called. Each of the cells has an address. This one that I'm in right now is column B, row 10. And you could look at the shaded boxes, and now I can go over here, you can look at the shaded boxes, or right here is the address box. It tells you the address of the current cell. Those addresses, F2, A1, C10, are very important. That's how we tell Excel to create its formulas. Take the number that's in F2 and do something with it. It's not like a calculator, where you type a bunch of numbers and it gives you another number. Here, you type addresses and say, take this one and this one and this one, and add them up, and tell me what the total is by cell reference. That's pretty cool. That's how it works out. So each one of those is called a cell. We've got column letters. I think the last time I looked, there's 16,000 columns. If you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, there's 16,000 columns. And over 1 million rows, that's 16 billion cells. We're going to use every one of them. No, not even close. If we fill a screen, we're doing good. There's tons of room here, tons of power. So that's kind of the overview. This is called the formula bar. Let's switch to the income statement down at the bottom. In that tab, just click on income statement. And here's a number. So if I click on that box, I should see 230. I don't. If I click on this box, I see a number. If I click on this cell, I see a number. This one has a formula in it. This is called a formula. This is called the formula bar up here. This is where you see what's actually in the cells. Excel tends to lie to you a lot. So I've got 234,000 in this box. No, it doesn't. It has C6 minus, there's C6, minus C7. What's cool about this is if I change this to 30,000, you don't have to bother. We're just playing here and looking around. And lock it in, watch what happens to the total. Automatically updates. And not only did it automatically update this one, but down here below, there's probably something that takes the net sales and uses that in another formula. That one automatically updates, and it just has this chain effect. Every single formula updates when you change any number in the worksheet. Automatically, if you build it right. And that's what we're here to learn how to do. So that's kind of the overview. I'm just going to fly through the book here. What happened? I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to teach this, and now I got stuck someplace different. How did I get there? Book. Page 1. That's better. Oh, I know why it doesn't know who I am. Okay, let's go to this book. We just took a tour. So we kind of went through that. So now I'm going to go to the next page, please. Okay, introducing spreadsheets. This is just what I did. All right. It says, it teaches you to open it the same way you've been doing it before, right? Go to Backstage View, find the document. That works. So does mine. You can go through here. You open this finances book. We already did that. Here's some shortcut keys. Did you learn shortcut keys in Word? Some. Hit the home key, takes you to the beginning of the line, end key, control home, control end, control C for copy, control V for paste. You're nodding. That's good to hear. Look, control C, control S for save, control X for cut, control V for paste. And control Z, my favorite. There's no Z on this keyboard. It's worn out. Control Z. Undo. Oops, that's not right. Control Z, undo. If you memorize one shortcut key, that's the one. Undo. Save you a lot of grief. None of us are using a touch screen. If you have a touch screen on your laptop, you can experiment with this stuff. Changing the active sheet. We did that, right? We went down to the bottom, and Volker said, go to the income statement, and you all did it, and it worked great. So you can easily change the sheet just by clicking. That's what it means by the active sheet. Only one of these can be active at a time. That's not true either, but we'll live with that. Looking at more than one of these at a time gets really confusing. There's some charts. Yeah, I saw them. Thank you very much. Navigating, moving around. So let's do a little bit of that. How do we move around in here? Let's go back to the income statement. Some of this you've been doing naturally. You click, I want to move around. I just slid and dragged. Click, I want to go to here. I want to go there. What's in here? Sparrow and pond. Why is it bigger? Why doesn't it say it's bigger? Later. But that's the easiest way to move around. Let your arrow keys work. Left and right, up and down. The home key, now this is going to be tricky because I'm using a Mac to run Windows to do Excel. And I'll try your home key. Should jump to the left edge. Not on mine. That's one of the problems. I have to practice. Home key. End key should control home. Try that one. Take you to the top of the screen. A1. Control end. All the way down to the last filled cell. Probably. Down here, right? Somewhere in that neighborhood. So if you need to jump around quickly, you can, but you know what? Most of the time I scroll and I click. Occasionally, I use the arrow keys. When we start entering our own data, you'll see this in a little while. When we enter our own data, you can press enter to move to the next line down, press tab to move sideways. We'll learn how to do all that here in just a second. Again, I'm still giving you an overview. So we navigated, that's good. There's some other keys, control, home, enter does things, tabs does things, that's nice. I scroll. Arrow keys. There's a go-to box that lets you jump. Okay, let's try that. I don't like the go-to box. Remember this guy up here, the name cell? If you click in there, you can type an address. So let's say I want to go to F25. You click in this cell way up here and type in F25. Capitalization doesn't matter. Press enter and poof, you're in F25 even though it's blank. I don't do that much either. I don't have spreadsheets that are so big that I need these massive keys to jump around, and we're not doing it. My guess is when you go through the training, they're going to make you do some of these things, like use the go-to or these. That's why I don't like SAMs all the time. They make you do stuff that nobody ever uses, or at least not in a beginning class. I wouldn't think about using it, but they didn't ask me, so we'll keep going. What else? Go-to box, kind of did that. Okay, selecting a range. This is important, so let's go back. You're probably still there. Sometimes I want to do something to a bunch of cells at once. Like maybe I want to make, these are all really important, I want to make them have a yellow background. In Excel, the shape of the cursor is very important. Notice when it's a plus sign, that's for selecting. And I can select multiple cells. In a range is just a rectangular shape. That's technically a range of cells. One cell. Technically a range. That's a range. That's a range. You can select a range simply by dragging. That's the easiest way to do it. If I want to do something to all of these, I select. But notice now my pointer changes shape. That means something different. If I come over here, changes to a plus sign, that means something different. So we're going to learn what all those different shapes mean, but what's important here is that you remember that in order to move, I have to have this arrow. To fill, I have to have that arrow. And to highlight, to select, I have to have the white plus sign. What if I want these and these? Well, that's no longer a range because it's not rectangular. It's got this gap in the middle. If you want to have a collection of cells, the book has some other name for it. I call it a collection. You got to get fancy. With your left hand, hold the control key down on your keyboard. First you select these three, any three. Then, and on my keyboard it gets even trickier, you select some more with the control key held down. So you select the first batch just the normal way, highlight it. Then hold the control key down and select some more. And you can select as many of these groups as you want. Now my keyboard or my screen's doing funky things. Don't worry about that. It's my Mac. That's a collection of cells. That occasionally comes in handy because I could now turn all of those yellow. There's a little fill can up here that fills them up, and now they're all yellow, and I did them all at once instead of one at a time yellow, one at a time yellow, one at a time yellow. That would get real old real fast. How do I undo that? Control Z. Puts them back. Not that it matters. We're never going to use this spreadsheet again, so we can trash it if we want to. Selecting a range. I think they call it a non-contiguous range. Non-adjacent range. Nice. I call it collection. It's a collection of cells that's different than a range. But it's nice to know that they're calling it a non-adjacent range, so when you see it in the training or you see it in the exam, select the non-adjacent range. It means it's not a range, they're separated. Highlight, and then control drag the rest of them. You're not asking questions, I assume that means we're doing good. If you're wondering what page number I'm on, using the online textbook, it's always right up there in the upper right-hand corner. So I'm moving to 13 now. Closing a workbook. Another invaluable skill. No, What I mean by, I don't mean invaluable, that means it's valuable. This is not a useful skill to me. Sorry, I've switched pages on here. Closing a workbook. You close a workbook so that you can open another one. But you see how I open workbooks. I don't use Excel. So I don't use this a lot. But again, it's in the book. To close a workbook, let's go do that. You go to File, go to Backstage View, and say Close. When you close a workbook that way, I've made some changes. You want to save them? No. Normally, yes, but not today. But notice I'm still in Excel. Usually when I'm done with something, I go up to the X and I close it and I say, okay, now what? And I go find another spreadsheet and double click it and open that, or find another Word document, double click it, open that. That must be weird because the book writes it in a different way. It said, no, we're going to start Excel and then go find what we want to work on. It's not the way I think. But it works. So now what they want us to do, probably create a new one. Skipping a bunch of text that you can read over, creating a new workbook. Remember, a workbook is made up of lots of worksheets. Down at the bottom. To create a new one, go to File, New. Or you can find your Excel icon and just double click it and it'll start up with a new one. So let's go to File, New. All kinds of templates. You might remember these from Word. Right. Starting places. You want to do a retirement financial planner. There you go. There's one all ready for you. And all you got to do is punch in the numbers. These never work for me. They're never exactly what I need. And in this class, it doesn't make any sense because we're learning how to build new ones. So we're not going to use any starting points. We're always going to start with a blank workbook. Double click. And here we have a blank, pristine workbook that we can play around in. Yes? Got a nod so I can hear you. Let the stuff rattle around in there. Okay, what are we supposed to do with it? I'm bouncing back and forth a lot. What I hope to have is get this one with the book so I can just read it. But then you can't see the page numbers. So here it is talking about all this stuff again. Active sheet and the save button, but that's nothing new. Same place the word save button was. And just like in Microsoft Word, after you've done some work, save it. How long does it take? How often do you save, Brianna? Quite often. I got that nailed down. That's like every 9 minutes, 37 seconds, right? How often? My philosophy, if you don't want to do it over again, save it. For some people, if you type a couple of fingers, that might be every 30 seconds. By the way, Control S, another one of those famous shortcut keys, save. Easy to do. Type a few things, Control S. Type a few things, Control S. You don't remember Control S? Type a few things, hit the save key. Save button up there at the top. We can zoom, just like Microsoft Word. Right, if you hold the Control key, I don't know if you got taught this one. If you hold the Control key and scroll, did you get taught that one? Oh, this one's just too cool. Left hand, Control key. Then with the other hand, scroll the mouse wheel. Whoa, too cool. Or you can use the little slider guy down here. He's still there. Hit the plus or the minus and zoom in and zoom out, and we'll do that. And the book says you should be at 120%. Does it really matter? Probably not. And also under View, I believe, I don't do it from the menu very often, there's a zoom button and you can pick that I want to be at 100%. So let's go back to 100% or whatever size suits you. I should probably make mine a little bigger. I'm going to zoom in. Pay attention. There we go. I'm going to zoom in so it's a little easier for you to see what I'm doing when I type. Except that's the wrong key because it didn't really zoom in. Let's try that one. Okay, I have to teach myself how to do that on my Mac here, so I'll stay at 100% for now. Actually, let's do it this way. Go to 200%. It just makes everything bigger so that you can see it, and you can see it in the recording. Leave yours the way it is if you wish, so you can see more stuff on the screen. I like control scroll. I do it all the time to move in and out. Sometimes it's a little rough, but most of the time it works very, very well. Okay, down at the bottom, we've got a bunch of worksheets. Actually, we've got one. I said a bunch because that's what I'm used to. In the old versions of Excel, you got 3 sheets to start with because I figured everybody needs not anymore. 1. Sheet 1, lame name. We can put something good in there. What does the book want us to put in there? You're reading it. Okay, I'll read it. Call it customer order. All right? So there's 2 ways to do this, probably more. You could right-click that sheet. Mine doesn't want to. Or you can double-click it. Come on. I think it's my little timer guy that's causing me trouble here. Hang on. Right-click. There we go. Rename. Or double-click. Both get you to the same place. I don't know how the training works, whether they let you do it either way. Do they say rename the spreadsheet or rename the sheet using the right-click method? No, they probably just say rename it. Then you type customer order. And press enter, and that'll lock it in. Insert a new sheet and call it documentation. Okay? To make a new one, I'm guessing the plus sign. How about you? A lot of times you can guess. A lot of it should be intuitive. That's what Microsoft is trying to do, is make this as easy for you as possible. I want a new sheet, so I click, and there's sheet 2. Then I double click it to rename it and call it documentation. And if I remember right, we're supposed to add another one and call it customer contact. 1 click, double click it, customer contact. Press enter to lock them in. And this process can just go on and on and on. I don't usually I don't know in advance a lot that I need 3 sheets. Normally I make 1 and I work with it and I go, oh, I could use another sheet. I make it. But you can create them if you know in advance. Maybe you're creating a separate sheet for every month of the year. Well, I guess I'm going to need 12. And you can create them right away and name each sheet with the appropriate month. We can move these around. The documentation sheets here, documentation is usually first, so I just grab it and drag it. And see that little black triangle? Very hard to see up there, but there's a little black triangle. That's where it's going to drop. And now you're in. I can take the customer contact, move it over here. Now I'm in. To delete them. What do you do if you don't know how, besides guess? What do you do if you don't know how? Pardon me? Look in the book. Get a better answer. Right-click it. I want to do something to this, but I don't know how. Right-click it. If it's not there, then you go to the book. But 95% of the time, I'd say it's here. I want to delete this sheet. Delete. Now it's gone. Can I undo that? Don't bother. I'll try. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like it. It's not bringing it back. So if you're deleting sheets, be careful. Because that I couldn't undo. And no, I didn't expect that. That's why you save frequently, because then if you messed it up, close it, don't save it, go find the one you did save and bring it back. Yes, ma'am?
When you hit save, does it save the whole workbook or just the worksheet?
Good question. When I hit save, way up here at the top, it's kind of off the screen because of my MacBook here. If I hit that save button, it saves everything. What if I just want to save a piece? No way to do it. And why would you? So that's a good idea. Let's save. Where are you going to put it? This was a new workbook. Where would you normally put it? Your H drive, right? Fine, put it out there. Or you could put it on your desktop, any place you want to put it. I'm a big fan of the desktop. The students that know me in here know that. I love the desktop because when I'm done, boing, it's right there staring me in the face. And then once I'm done, then I put it away someplace. And what are we supposed to call this? I'm sure it told me in the notes here at some point. First it wanted me to move them. We did that. Then it wants me to delete them. Oh, good. We got there. Save and call this SP space customer space order. So capital SP customer space order. Does capitalization matter? Probably not. Does the spelling matter? If you're going to show this to your boss, and Bob has told me, would you be happy to show this to your coworkers, to the people down in the lounge, and you don't spell customer right, they're going to be a little leery about your spreadsheet. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it does matter. Hit save, and it should save it wherever you put it. And now, in case things go bad, we're in good shape. All right, now what? Entering text, dates, and numbers. How do we put new stuff in? Pretty simple. You put your cursor where you want the cursor. What I mean by the cursor here is not that vertical blinking bar, but pick the cell that you want to put text into. This says, go Control Home, which takes you to A1, or just click in A1 and type sparrow and pond. So here in A1, you click and you type sparrow and pond. Press enter to lock that in. When you notice what happened when I pressed enter. Move down one row. If I'd pressed tab instead, it would have moved over to B1. Something interesting happens here. I typed sparrow and pond, it doesn't fit the box. Uh-oh. Well, obviously no problem. It just kept going. That's normal. So that means that the letter N and the D are in B1, right? Click in B1. What does the formula bar tell you is in B1? Nothing. It's a little disconcerting sometimes. Everything that we typed is in A1, but it didn't fit, so it automatically spills over. Now, don't follow me here. I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to type my name so you can see it for a change and now Volker goes in here, but notice what happens to Sparrow, and it got chopped off. Oh my God, what happened to the rest? No. They're all still there. They just don't fit anymore. That's normal. That's how this is designed to work. And what's really cool is if I take Volker out of here to delete, press delete. Now it spills over again. So Excel is smart enough to say there's room, so I'm going over into the neighboring cell, but as soon as you put something else in there, it chops it off. Couldn't we make column A wider to make, yes, that's coming, hang in there. Okay, and let's see, then we're supposed to press the enter key twice, type author, date, and purpose in separate boxes. So press enter, we're here, press enter twice. You're in A3. Author, date, I'm just pressing enter, and purpose. No, notice where I am. Darn, messed that up. Thank you. Yeah. Are you in the documentation sheet, or have you just been blindly following me? I wish I brought my candy with you. Usually if you teach me something new or tell me I'm screwing up, I bring you a piece of candy. Yeah, that would be nice if I did that, wouldn't it? Okay, what am I going to do here? I could go to documentation and fix this. Tell you what, I'm going to highlight all of this. If you followed me and you're in the customer order sheet, oops. If you're in documentation, hold still. I'm going to highlight those 5 and I'm going to cut them to the clipboard. Just like in Microsoft Word, you can right click and choose cut. Or you can go to the home tab and do cut. Or you can do Control X. There's 6 different ways. Cut. Those little erasing lines, I call them erasing ants. That tells you this is on the clipboard. Well, that's cool. Microsoft Word doesn't do that. You put stuff on the clipboard, nothing happens. If you cut it, it disappears. This is on the clipboard. Now I can switch to the other tab. Maybe. There we go. And in A1, paste. Right click, paste. Don't even worry about the options. Cool. Is it gone from over here? Yep. So Don't start over. See if you can find a way to recover. Did I do that on purpose? I wish I said I could. I did that, yeah, just to show you you can do that. No, afraid not. So I'll make it a little bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Thank you for straightening me out there. Back to the book. What else didn't I read? Because I'm flying right by it. Press enter, author, press the tab key. Ooh, missed that part. Okay, click here in A3. Press tab. Remember when we press enter, it moves you down. Press tab, it moves you sideways. That occasionally comes in handy. You could type author and then click and then let go or type and then grab the mouse and no, just press the tab key. Put your name in there. First name, whole name, whatever you want. And notice mine spills over into column C. That's cool. Type the author, did that. Press the enter key. Then in the date, press the tab key. And in the next cell, enter where you would enter the date. We're going to leave that blank for now, put it in later. A5, put purpose. And then after in B5, excuse me, right next to the word purpose, we're supposed to type to record customer book orders. To record customer book orders. And it just spills over. That's normal. I'll go back there in just a second. A1 overflows, undoing and redoing. Let's see, the quick access toolbar, undo, in cell. Oh my goodness, you want me to type all that stuff? Tell you what, let's cheat. Now we know that we need to learn how to undo. So they said undo, Control Z. Because I made a mistake, that was the wrong purpose. Let's see if I can remember this one. To record book orders from a sparrow and pond customer. I love it when I have to undo. To record orders from a sparrow and pond customer. Does the actual text really matter in this example? No. In your homework assignment, yeah, they're going to be checking your spelling and all the rest of that stuff. Remember, we can undo, and if there's a level of redo, you could, if you undo too far, can't see it up on that screen, you should be able to see yours. That's the redo button right next to it. You can redo what you just undid. I don't normally do that too often. Question? Editing a cell. In A1, notice down here we said sparrow ampersand pond, and over here we said sparrow and pond. It's supposed to be ampersand. How do I change it? Two ways. You can click here, and then go up here in the address bar and change it. Or, this is one most people like, double click. Because remember, all the text is in here. Double click. And now you've got a blinking vertical bar, just like in Microsoft Word, and you can move around and you can highlight, and you can use the arrow keys and the backspace keys and all that stuff and change it. So you can change any cell. You don't have to delete it and start over. I could have changed this because it used to say to record customer orders. I could have changed it, but that was a pretty drastic change. Here, it's a minor change. You can fix it. Double click, or you can fix it up here. You just click. Same stuff. Okay, now we're switching to customer order. And in A1, we're supposed to type customer name, I think, or just customer. Customer order. No, click the customer order sheet, and in A1, type customer order. I guess so. Then what? Then in A3, type ship to, press enter. In A4, type a bunch of stuff. First name, last name, address, city, state. I wish I brought my book. I don't have a book. I only have the digital version. So let's see if I can split this screen and do two things at once. A3 is ship to. And then in A4, A through A4, A10, all the way down. First name, last name, address, city, state. Postal code. And phone. So by pressing enter, you can move down. Click in cell B4. I always forget that I type faster than most people, so if I get ahead of you, just ask me to wait. Just holler out. Say, wait, I don't have that stuff yet. Keys are quiet. Should be in pretty good shape. Okay. And unfortunately, now I can't turn the pages. In B4. You ready? I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see it a little bit better, and I'm going to type it a little later. In B4, type Tobias. Actually, you can kind of see it here. So I'm going to slide that back over again, see if I can type it with you here. In B4, that's here, first name, Tobias. Now notice because I've put something in here, the overflow goes away and first name gets chopped off. Don't fret, it's still there. We'll fix it. Last name, Gregson. Address, 412 Apple Grove. Street. Nashua. New Hampshire. This next one's interesting. I'm going to type the zip code, which is 03061. That's okay. I'll live. Thank you. Now I can't see because it's dark up here. Watch what happens when I press enter on this one. Oh, it took the 0 off. That's rude. It thought it was a number. And Excel says, let me take care of that for you. You don't need a leading 0. Let me take that off for you. It's not a number, it's a zip code. My programmers in the room will tell you that if you don't do math with it, it's not really a number. It's just got digits in it. Like your social security number, your zip codes. If you subtract one zip code from another, you find out how many miles apart and nothing. No. So it's text. How do we tell Excel? Leave that alone. First, go to that cell. We'll put the phone number in a minute. Go to cell B9 and delete that. Just press the delete key and it deletes the contents of that cell. Remember, the E is spillover. If you're typing digits, but they're really text, Excel will figure it out. If you're typing a phone number, as soon as you type a dash, it'll go, that's not a number, and it'll leave it alone. But in this case, we just typed 5 digits, so it stripped that leading 0 off. Start with an apostrophe. It's right next, I don't even know where it is on your keyboard. Where's the apostrophe? That's the enter key? Yep. Apostrophe. Then type the zip code. That's just a clue to Excel to, hey, leave this alone. Then, in my mind, another annoying thing happens. You get a little triangle. And you're going, oh, must be something wrong. No. If you hover on that, maybe we got to click, and then hover this little helper guy over here on the side. There we go. It's telling me this is a number stored as text. Duh, I just did that. Well, maybe you accidentally hit the apostrophe and you didn't mean to. So it's warning you. It's just a warning. It's not an error. But if you want, you can tell it to ignore this error, so to speak. And that little triangle goes away if it bothers you. If the book tells you to remove it, then remove it. If it doesn't and it doesn't bother you, leave it there. It's not hurting anything. It's just a little caution to you that, hey, things are a little weird here. Okay, phone number, 603 with parentheses, space, 555-4128. Save your workbook. Let's take a break. Been at it for a while. But before you take a break, how's this compared to Bob? I'm going faster? I'm going slower? It's about the same. This is what he did. You're talking way too much. What? He's happy. Perfect. He's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm afraid, though, it's 7 o'clock. I'm afraid I might yak a little longer than 8, which is when he says shut up. That's what he told me. We want to get through these 2 parts. By the time you get back, I will have my system figured out here so Val can have her book back. And I'll be able to look at the book on one page and type it up here, and you can either look in the book or look up there. I'll have that sorted out. I'm getting good. If you have any other feedback, how it's different from mine, how I can do it different, let me know. Okay, take 10 minutes, then we'll come back and pick up where we left off.